On January 16, when Queen Anne-Marie of Greece welcomed her son, Crown Prince Pavlos, into Athens Cathedral, a crowd of thousands greeted her from behind the barriers outside. She turned, furrowing her brow, holding back tears, very moved, put her hand to her heart and thanked them, and then walked inside to attend her husband's funeral. Constantine II, the last king of the Hellenes, had died 6 days earlier, at the age of 82, after a stroke. Inside the cathedral was a scene of Byzantine splendor. Incense, candles, chants, queens, kings, and statesmen. Marie-Chantal and their daughter, Princess Olympia, were there along with 10 European royal families, including 7 heads of state. It was the second largest gathering of crowned heads after the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Archbishop Jerome II of Athens conducted the ceremony in all its splendor, accompanied by the 12 metropolitans of the Holy Synod and the envoys of the Patriarchates of Constantinople and Alexandria. Together they sang He Who Became King, a rather taboo song in modern Greek society, since Constantine really only ruled for 3 years before he was overthrown. And then Pavlos gave his eulogy, and the world's media went wild. "My father," he said, "this is not the end." The same day rumors began to circulate that Pavlos would return to Greece and settle in Athens. The gossip spread like wildfire, first on news sites, then on other TV stations, and the next day it hit the tabloids. 9 days later, after the Trisagion service, according to Orthodox tradition, the family broke the silence. The rumors are completely false. This is a vulnerable time for the Queen and her family, and they will spend more time together during their stay in Athens, but that is all. The restoration of the monarchy in Greece is out of the question. Except for a few influential shipping dynasties such as Niarchos, Vardinogiannis, Namikos, Goulandres, Livanos, Chandris and Lamos, who continue to support and communicate with kings, and most of them do so abroad, the domestic elite keeps their distance. Of course, the power of this institution was evident both in the television ratings during the funeral and in the furor that continued in the media for 2 weeks until Crown Prince Pavlos boarded the plane to return to New York. But it was only a media obsession. The subject of the monarchy evokes strong emotions in Greece because it has played such an undeniable role in modern history. Constantine was crowned as a constitutional monarch in 1964, albeit one with great influence. He was a pin-up for the country, a dashing modernizer who had won a sailing gold medal at the Rome Olympics 4 years earlier. Back then, as in Britain, Greek high society revolved around the royal family. Every celebrity, local or foreign, wanted a picture with them. And the invitation to the palace? A sign of social uplift that was highly appreciated. But in 1967, the king's democratically elected government was overthrown in a military coup. The king withdrew, secretly hoping to temper the excesses of the new junta, and remained on his throne. But his silence was very much one of cooperation, and for this many subjects never forgave him. That same year his involvement in the failed counter-coup was exposed, and he was forced to flee Greece, saving his life. In exile, the family traveled first to Rome and then to Great Britain, where Constantine was connected to the royal family through the Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen. He settled in a lavish mansion in the suburbs of Hampstead, supported by wealthy supporters and served by an imposing retinue. But even there he remained Your Majesty. In 1973, the first referendum held by the junta voted for the king's resignation. The following year, with the return of democracy to Greece, a second plebiscite confirmed this, and Constantine and his family had to abandon their hopes of regaining the throne. In 1981, the government allowed him to return to the country for a few hours to attend his mother's funeral, then in 1993 for a vacation, which deteriorated when his yacht was constantly harassed by Greek military vessels. It wasn't until 2013 that he was finally allowed to settle in his homeland. He chose Porto Heli, a quiet coastal neighborhood, keeping his social life to a minimum, except for the very rare public appearances when he came to Athens. He was called Constantine Glucksberg, which was attributed to his German-Danish origins and ignored the fact that he was born in Greece and became head of state by right of succession. He avoided political interference and proclaimed everywhere how happy he was to finally be back in his homeland. Last year, the house in Porto Heli was sold for €15 million. Although Constantine's widow, Anne-Marie, kept her apartment in the capital, near the old palace.